It is the 20th of June. Good afternoon and welcome to KTN Weekend at 1. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole. A chief and his 3 assistants are facing the sack for allegedly attending a meeting at Governor Isaac Ruto's residence in Chepalungu without the county commissioner's knowledge. The chiefs have been given up to midnight today to show cause why they should not be punished. Samogina has more.
The 4 chiefs have until end of today to explain why they should not be disciplined. Failure to offer an explanation by the expiry of the ultimatum, the Kapkimolwa chief and his 3 assistants will face sanctions. A warning letter from Bomet East Sub-County Commissioner says in visiting the official residence of Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto without informing his office, the chief and his assistants failed to consult his seniors, amounting to a serious breach of administrative protocol. As such, their stay in the service will be determined by the response they will give. The 4 visited Governor Ruto's residence on June 10th, but the sub-county commissioner claims the administrators have no excuse for sidestepping his office, adding that they will be held accountable for their misconduct. The sub-county commissioner is essentially reigniting the national versus county government proxy wars, given that he represents the state at the county level.
Tulikuwa napanga mambo ya further devolution kulingana na katiba iliyowekwa ya kuhakikisha kazi inaendelea mashinani. Na machiefs wote walinipigia kura na wataendelea tu kunipigia kura. Labda ni DC peke yake hata nipigia kura na hata sina haja na kura yake. So hata asikate kura hapa, aenda akate huko mahali atasukuma. Juu wengine wanatoka wapi. Lakini tunataka fanya kazi nao wakikubali.
The Bomet governor lashed out at the sub-county commissioner, saying he will continue to work with everyone in the county regardless of their status. With the deadline on the show course lapsing, the spotlight is firmly fixed on the Bomet East sub-county commissioner's next course of action. Samogina, KTN.
Tens of families have been displaced in the Pokot South village of Lenan after an eviction exercise in which they claim police torched their houses. The affected families have been involved in a land dispute over a 20-acre piece of land.
Over 100 families are now camped in churches in Murkogoi, Lenan location after an early morning operation by the police that left them out in the cold. Many of the affected have been left angry, disappointed and helpless as valuable documents and property worth millions of shillings went up in flames. Stored grain, chicken, stores, household items, clothing as well as money and certificates are among the many items lost in the operation.
Hii ni nyumba yetu. Kila kitu imeungua hapa. Hatuna namna. Nilikuja asubuhi nikafika hapa, hakuna nini. Hao wako nachoma manyumba. Vile nilifika hapo, OCS alinipiga kofi. Na akaniambia toka hapa. Toka. Na nini pesa imechomeka. Mama walifukuza mama tu hatukukaa hata kwa nyumba.
The 2 groups that have been involved in a 3-decade-old land tussle expressed shock and disbelief over the manner in which the police carried out the early morning operation where they claim live bullets were used.
Wakati nilisikia nduru hawa, nikakimbia. Nikapika hapa, watu wamekatakata manyumba na wengine wanachoma. Na ni sasa tukajaribu kutingesa hawa wakapika sisi sasa.
Watueleze kama hii ni njia ya kufanya. Ama ukiona ni ungwana kweli.
Chicks Ingado, KTN Weekend at 1.
And we continue with our focus on the ailing health sector. 2 weeks into the strike by the Chuka Sub-County Hospital health workers, there seems to be no solution in sight. The deplorable state of the hospital's infrastructure emerged last evening during a tour of the hospital by area leaders.
2 weeks into the health workers' strike, the Chuka Sub-County Hospital remains a deserted facility. But even as the health crisis continues at this hospital, it has now emerged that residents have an even greater reason to be worried. A tour of the facility by area MP Muthomi Njuki, accompanied by Tharaka Nithi County Commissioner Charles Monari, has exposed the deplorable state of the hospital. Broken beds, dirty sinks, and wet clothes strewn all over was the sight that greeted the unexpected visitors at the facility.
The facilities, the equipments, the wards, and everything else that is supposed to assist the medical personnel to be able to give good medical care is in a pathetic state.
Vifaa vimeendelea na zingine kuoza na zingine kuisha kabisa, ambazo zinahitaji kushughulikiwa na zingine kununuliwa.
And now the MP is threatening to marshal his colleagues at the National Assembly to push for the transfer of the management of the health services from the county government back to the national government. And although the national government recently released medical equipment for public hospitals, including this facility, the MP insists that the Chuka Sub-County Hospital still does not have the proper infrastructure to receive the medical kits.
Even the rooms that are supposed to receive the equipment are not plastered, they have no doors, they have no floor, leave alone the other amenities like electricity that we are supposed to use to operate this equipment.
The MP says he now wants the facility back to the national government so that he can channel CDF funds for its upgrade. Muremi Mwangi, KTN, Weekend at 1.
No doubt the debate over devolution of health services will continue, and we will continue keeping an eye on that right here at KTN. Let's take you to Nyeri. The moderator of the Kenya Presbyterian Church, Right Reverend Julius Mwamba, says the breakdown of family values is the cause of most problems facing society today, especially in the institution of marriage. He's speaking at the Nyeri PCEA Nyamachaki. The moderator said the violence witnessed in Nyeri against men has been brought on by the lack of understanding between couples and a loss of values that guide the relationship between husband and wife. He also took the opportunity to lash out at Western church leaders who have embraced homosexuality.
Look at it that people have come in their own ways talking about man marrying a man. Will they ever get children? Is there any future of the family? Look at it that people have come up with ideas of man, a lady marrying another lady. Will they ever have children? When marriage becomes sour between you and your spouse, people have even gone as far as removing the engine. They are calling them engine transformers. You can imagine when you talk of all this, what are we talking about? We are talking about destroying the family. One of the questions I was asking myself is, what about if you want to reconcile yourself with this person, you have removed the transformer, you have removed the engine, what would happen? Because both of you will be the same, am I right?
The Kenya National Union of Teachers wants Education Cabinet Secretary Professor Jacob Kaimenyi to de-gazette the Basic Education Regulations of 2015. During the annual general meeting held in Nyeri, the Assistant National Treasurer John Matiang'i claimed that Kaimenyi went ahead to make the rules and gazette them without consulting the relevant stakeholders. Some of the clauses they are displeased with include one they say is aimed at controlling the school principals and their deputies. The other is aimed at governing how interdictions of teachers should be carried out, amongst other clauses. They want the CS to de-gazette the regulations to allow for further consultations.
We as Nairobi, we have that well-fed lady, Kiambu West. Thank you, Masharia. Then we have Muranga North, they are the ones who take care of me.
Basic Education Regulation 2015 were gazetted without consultation. It is yesterday, the other day, when you saw the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Education, calling other stakeholders for consultation, already once he had gazetted the bill. So he should gazette the entire regulations, after which he can consult.
All right, let's switch gears a bit and want you to think about something. So if a refugee at the Kakuma camp can run up to 3 businesses and employ 4 others, what's your excuse for remaining idle? KTN's Mercy Kandia has been at the camp ahead of the World Refugee Day and now brings us this inspiring story.
It's about lunchtime at the Kakuma refugee camp. Inside this hotel kitchen, everyone gets busy. The owner, 25-year-old Achol Deng, leads by example. She's been here since 1999, one murky journey. Achol says she never thought she'd come this far, married off at 17, then left alone to fend for her 3 sons. Achol has been toughened by what life brought her way.
Wale walikuwa hajapenda mimi, wanashukia mpana sana, wanasema mimi nafanya kazi chafu. Na mimi najua ni kazi chafu, lakini pesa sio chafu.
She named her son Uhuru, born during the Kenya general elections of 2013. That date for her was the turnaround. Her hotel is now known as Mama Uhuru Hotel, the freedom of mind and economy she never thought she would have.
Sasa nikijenga hii nyumba ni kama ile ng'ombe anakamua leo na kesho. Nakamua kila siku. Sababu leo napiga, kesho natengeneza chakula, kesho koda yani hakuna kumiss.
For Achol Deng, it has always been a situation where one door closes, another opens. Learning the language of the local community and employing 5 of them, Achol is now shaping her life, and every week she goes to the reception area to encourage and motivate new refugees.
Mimi naambia watu ya reception wale wakimbizi, mimi nasema nyinyi fanyeni biashara mzuri, ndio bwana, ndio mama, ndio baba.
Obstacles have been many, but resilience is what pushed her, she says, and she's not alone. In another area of the camp, a group of refugees are venturing into agribusiness. Such agricultural projects are done here to change the mindset.
Tunapanda nyanya, vitunguu, pamoja na vitunguu saumu. Tunaitwa umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. Na tuko watu 27 ambao tuko tunaendelea hapa hivi. Unaona? Na sio hapa hivi tu, kuna sehemu mbalimbali.
We are able to improve the livelihoods of these refugees who have really started and have worked very hard to improve their livelihood through agriculture. And we've gone ahead to even train these farmers to understand the need of agribusiness, because we want them to do in a business way, not the normal way they have been doing.
They water their farms, and as the crops thrive, it's the hope that their lives too would, and that the young ones would follow suit, sing a different tune. Back at Mama Uhuru Hotel, lunch is ready. For every meal served is a mile away from her economic troubles, a step closer to self-reliance. The world celebrates World Refugee Day here at the Kakuma refugee camp. It's stories like the ones of Achol Deng, ones of resilience and moving forward towards self-reliance that are celebrated. Mercy Kandia, KTN, at the Kakuma refugee camp in Turkana County.
Let's move to matters politics now. 5 MPs affiliated to the Jubilee Alliance have vowed not to support the chairman of Administration and National Security Committee, Asman Kamama, in his onslaught against Interior Principal Secretary Monica Juma. Kasarani MP John Joroge, Makadara MP Benson Mutura, Roysambu MP Waihenya Ndirangu, Igembe North MP Joseph Merauki, and Nyeri Women Representative Priscilla Nyokabi have all said Kamama is wrong in targeting Juma. The legislators who were speaking during a ceremony to install Murang'a Women Representative Sabina Chege as an elder assured President Kenyatta of their support in his decisions.
Wacha Monica Juma arudi kwa kazi yake, Kenya iendelee mbele na Vision 2030. Sisi tuko na imani na rais wetu.
Mambo ya Monica Juma tuseme bunge iliteleza, na kama bunge iliteleza tuachie mambo hayo hapo, tusiendelee na kushika safari ambayo haitatupeleka mbali. Sisi katika Jubilee tuko URP na TNA na vyama vingine. Tumeshateleza mambo ya Monica Juma, hayo mambo yameisha na hayo mambo yamefungwa.
Hakuna vita katikati ya rais na wajumbe wa Central. Hiyo ni propaganda ya media, sababu sisi tuko nyuma ya president na kazi yake. Ni kweli ama sio kweli?
All right, so I want to take you to my homeland now, or at least those of my ancestors. Luhyaland, shall we? So for outsiders, it is a tourist attraction. For the Luhya community living around it, it is a cultural and spiritual heritage. Myths around the crying stone found in Ilesi, Kakamega, and legend has it that the large rock cannot stop crying. But as is, the stone isn't crying and it's much harder to see. And those who care for its heritage hope that its replica will keep people from forgetting it. Dorcas Wangira reports.
Folklore has it that in pre-colonial times, the crying stone, well known as the Ihongo Murwe, Ihongo for a large body and Murwe for head, fought wars for the Luhya people. Elders say once there was a war between the Luhya and the Nandi over a boundary and the stone. John Ashundu remembers.
Kinemia na bongo. Wakasema kama ni yenyu tukatai. Mtoe kichwa. Mkitoa ni yenyu. Sitasonga. Sasa walikuwa na karibu bila anaweza kutoa, wanaanguka, wanakufa, wengine wanafunjika. Sasa wasa wakasema wasiwa mtaa wa huku na huku, wakasema na wazali si mnakufa, kwa hivyo mwe.
Legend also has it that the stone continually weeps, but it's not crying. Locals say it cries only once a year. Geology has other reasons. It is said the large boulder, 8 meters high, is made up of plutonic rock with a small groove with absorbent moss in the middle, from which water flows out for long periods of time in the rainy season.
Hiyo maji sijui inatoka wapi, sababu ni majuzi tu, na siku moja kwa mwaka. Kama mwezi wa 8 siku moja, alafu ikilia tunajua sasa tuko tantabu, njaa iko mingi.
But here the locals planted eucalyptus trees all around the stone.
Juu zamani tulikuwa na wakeni wengi kutoka mbali na mbali. Zanza walikuwa wanapigia picha kwa njia kwa barabara, halafu wanarudi huko. Ndio tuliona tupanda hizi miti vile sio mrefu hivyo. Iliziko hizi watakuwa kisonga karibu tuondoka sukari kidogo,
and its roots travel deep with an insatiable lust for water.
Wasi kunywa maji saidi.
Sasa zinamalizia mawe maji.
Hizi mawe maliziki na maji.
So whose fault is it that the stone is weeping no more?
Si midna malizia maji, midna nasipia watu kuiona.
And there's a saying that you haven't been to Kakamega until you've seen the crying stone. But as is, there are generations who've lived here all their lives, but they haven't even come this close to it. Oral tradition alone may not be enough to hand down this heritage, just like many others. At the Kakamega ASK showground, something more visible, more tangible will be needed to remind people of the rock. So the guiding principle is, if you cannot go to Ilesi, at least here you can see the rock. Well, it's not crying like the actual stone, but at least it looks like it. The crying stone.
Yes.
Where is it?
In Ilesi.
Tell me about that stone.
The crying stone in Ilesi is the main attraction in Kakamega County.
Okay. And then this one?
It's a man-made feature, crying stone.
And why has that crying stone stopped crying?
No.
Man's fault, geology's weakness, or simply nature, all could be at fault for the missing tears. But if only the rock could speak for itself, we would really know. Dorcas Wangira, KTN, Kakamega.
All right, that's all we had for you on Weekend at 1. We want to remind you to keep it KTN for more news coverage at 4, at 6:30 and at 9 p.m. with myself and John Alanamu. But coming right up is Africa Speaks, World Refugee being celebrated today. A few statistics to put her show into perspective. The number of forcibly displaced persons is at a record 59.5 million this year. 1 in every 122 humans has been displaced this year, and the UNHCR says if this were a country, it would be the world's 24th largest. So spare a thought for the refugees today. Of course, Joy Doreen Bira with that interview with the UNHCR Country Director Rauf Mazou is coming up right after this bulletin. So do stay tuned for that. Good afternoon, and we'll see you later. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole.